Hey everyone, Rich Gasaway here. A few weeks back I announced I was looking for a department or an association to partner with me to host a program on September 26th, which is National Situational Awareness Day. I said I wanted to be able to make it my biggest event ever with a bodacious goal of having 500 students in the room. And for that, the hosting department that partners with me would be able to have a nice incentive, that being that they could send all of their members to the program for free. From that announcement, I had 13 agencies step up and express interest in hosting this event. Then I made an announcement in my monthly newsletter and had another 9 agencies express interest, including some very large fire departments from around the country. And I am truly humbled by the interest to partner with me in hosting a program on this day. But now I have a problem. I have to figure out who's going to be the department that hosts the program on September 26th, and how am I going to accommodate the agencies that are not going to be able to host on September 26th. I'm not complaining. It's a great problem to have. If your agency wants to host a situational awareness program in a way that makes it free for your members to attend, contact me on SA Matters homepage and click on the Contact Me tab. I'm giving serious consideration to making September National Situational Awareness Month celebration. I may have to do that in order to accommodate the agencies that have stepped up, and thanks to those agencies for doing so. I'm absolutely loving it. If your department can't afford a program for one reason or another, and there are lots of reasons departments can't afford a program, I have an alternative for you. The Situational Awareness Matters Online Academy. There are almost 700 students enrolled in the academy, and I'm very thankful. If you're interested in taking your understanding of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making to a higher level, visit samatters.com and click on the green button on the right side of the homepage labeled Online Academy Students. The premium enrolled students got a real treat when our webinar guest last month come on. It was Peter Van Dorp, the retired training chief from the Chicago Fire Departments, and he's a speaker that was introduced. The students were introduced to in the first course, the Foundations course of the Academy. Among other topics that Chief Van Dorp talked about was balancing the culture of safety with aggressive tactics. And it was an amazing interview and discussion. The April webinar guest is going to be Assistant Chief Doug Klein from the Horry County Fire Rescue Services in South Carolina. That will be held on Sunday, April 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The premium enrolled students will get a notification sent to them in the course room about the login credentials. Okay, that's enough pre-show announcements. Let's get this party started. Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
This is Bert Clark, and you're listening to the SA Matters radio show with Rich Gasaway. The SA Matters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 154 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence environments. The SA Matters mission is simple, to help you see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes. I mentioned last week that the podcast had been downloaded over 200,000 times. In the words of Elvis, thank you. Thank you very much. 200,000. To me, that's mind-blowing. The SA Matters radio show is now officially the single longest consecutive running first responder safety-focused podcast show on the internet. How cool is that? Whew. It gives me chills. If you haven't subscribed yet to the show, go over to iTunes or Stitcher Radio if you have an Android device and search for SA Matters Radio. There's also a link to the podcast page on the SA Matters website homepage. I have a very personal favor to ask of you. If you subscribe to this show, go over to iTunes or Stitcher and give it a rating or a review. I promise you it'll make my day, my week, and my month. I'm still looking to bring on an additional sponsor for the podcast show, too. So if you know a company that would like to get their message into the ears of this show's listeners, ask them to contact me. And speaking of sponsors, you have to check out Midwest Fire. I'm serious, pause the podcast and go to MidwestFire.com right now and take a look at their all-poly-bodied fire apparatus. It's changing the industry. We're closing in on another incredible milestone. In just 2 more episodes, we'll be at episode 156, and that'll mark the 3-year anniversary of the podcast show. I've released a new episode every Tuesday without fail, and I mean every Tuesday, for 3 consecutive years. Have never missed a week. No other first responder-focused podcaster has even come close to that. Not even a close second. Not that we're competing. I'm just making an observation. And while I'm proud of that, I have to give the credit to you, the listener. If you weren't listening, there'd be no podcast for me to host. I've been sharing the message of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making for 12 years now. I'm here for the long run. And for so long as I'm able, I'm going to continue to share this message, a message of hope, a message of inspiration, and a message of encouragement for all first responders who want to make sure that they're able to develop and maintain strong situational awareness and make quality, high-risk decisions. I'm dedicated to help improve your safety and your survival, and to help you accomplish goal number 1. Always goal number 1. Go home to the ones who love you. And speaking of sharing the message, I'm coming to you today from Blue Springs, Missouri, where I'm in town to deliver 2 programs for the International Association of Fire Chiefs Company Officer Leadership Series. Thank you to Motorola Solutions for the grant that funds the program and makes it free for everyone to attend. We had just under 100 students in the room today. Thank you also to Jason Nauman, the Chief Learning Officer at the International Association of Fire Chiefs, for your incredible support and passion for first responder training. I feel very blessed to have some exciting presentation opportunities on the horizon that I just have to share with you because I'm just giddy excited. So I got the Fire Department's Instructors Conference coming up, and then I'm going to do a program for the Fire Department of New York FDNY Incident Management Team, and I've got a program for the United States Navy and Fire Rescue International, which is the International Association of Fire Chiefs Conference, then a program for NASA, and then a program for the Amsterdam Fire Brigade in the Netherlands. Whew! Man, it's going to be an exciting year for me to be able to be with all of those people. I'm super stoked about it. If you're interested in hosting a Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop program in 2017 for your department or your association or your region or your state or your company, yes, our trainers do programs for private industry too. Just contact me through the samatters.com site. Click on the Contact Us tab. We'll get something set up for you. It's not hard to do. I promise you, it's not hard to do at all. In today's feature segment, the 5th podcast in this series, we are once again discussing dangerous mindsets. We're going to cover 9 of these mindsets in total, and today we're going to be looking at the one who is stubborn-minded, or sometimes called bull-headed. To recap the 9 dangerous mindsets being covered in this series, in Part 1 we discussed the starter. In Part 2 we discussed the subordinate. In Part 3 we discussed the specialist. Last week we discussed the superior. And today we're going to discuss the stubborn-minded. Remaining in the series are the silent, the Superman or Superwoman, the slacker, and the synergist. All right, we're going to jump into our feature segment on dangerous mindsets of the stubborn. And stick around when the feature segment's done, and I'll tell you where you can attend an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop event. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be one in your state, or one in your county, or one just around the corner. Stick around and find out. Today we're discussing the dangerous mindset of the stubborn, or perhaps more appropriately stated, the bullheaded member, and how their behaviors can impact situational awareness and team safety. This individual can be described as one who is set in their ways, closed-minded, and perhaps even defiant. Their narrowed view can impact relationships and, more importantly, situational awareness. Defining the stubborn. I think most of us know what a stubborn person acts like, but as I gave this episode some thought, I was challenged to come up with a good definition. So, as I often do for some inspiration, I turned to that all-powerful portal of wisdom, Google. The definition offered there fit the needs of this discussion quite well. Stubborn, an adjective. Having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons. Or 2, difficult to move, remove, or cure. There's no doubt a stubborn person can be challenging to work with. I'm sure my coworkers would have on occasion labeled me as a stubborn person. I think the more training and life experience we gain, and the more we may perceive ourselves as having expert knowledge on a subject matter, the more we may be susceptible to appearing to be stubborn in the defense of our beliefs of what is right or wrong. Stubborn is not always a bad quality. For example, a training officer who is stubborn about not taking shortcuts and how recruits are trained, despite what may appear to be a good argument for doing so, is an organizational asset, not a liability. The downside of being stubborn. It can be challenging to open up the mind of someone who is stubborn. Why does a person act stubborn? Perhaps they are so used to seeing their point of view as correct that they cannot imagine that another person's perspective could actually be correct and that they could be wrong. I once had a first responder describe the challenges with his stubborn supervisor in this way. He said, "When I went to work for this officer, I knew that his last name was right. I just didn't realize that his first name was always." When the stubborn supervisor instills this type of feelings among subordinates, the underlings are not going to be very willing to tell the stubborn supervisor when that supervisor might be making a mistake, even if the mistake may result in a grave consequence. If by chance the subordinate would tell the stubborn supervisor of the error, the supervisor might then become, in their stubborn nature, angry and not willing to welcome the feedback and won't admit that there might even be an alternative way of looking at a particular issue. Habits. Another cause of stubborn behavior comes from being set in your ways. We are creatures of habit, and we can gain a comfort in doing things a certain way. Any recommendation to do things outside the zone of comfort may be met with resistance or refusal. For the stubborn, the mantra might be, "Why change? What I'm doing is working well for me." Comfort. The stubborn nature of a supervisor may come with feeling comfortable with doing things a certain way. Suggesting a change may cause a degree of discomfort. Fear of change and fear of consequences from failure are powerful motivators toward resisting new ideas. Some advice. One of the best ways to reach a stubborn supervisor is to employ a principle I learned from Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in there he writes of one habit that he termed, "Seek first to understand, and then to be understood." This principle has worked well for me to help understand many aspects of human behavior. Prior to using this principle, I was quick to judge and quick to do my best to make sure that other people understood my perspective. I was not very interested in understanding why they were stubborn. I just wanted the behavior to end. The truth is, until we understand why a person behaves the way that they do, there is little we can do to influence their changing their undesired behavior. So, is it as simple as approaching the stubborn person and saying, "So why are you so stubborn?" Well, not exactly. I mean, you can take that approach, but it's very likely that that's going to put the stubborn person on the defensive, and your hopes of making any headway are going to die right there. You cannot have productive communications with a person who is defensive. I would recommend avoiding such a direct approach. Alternatively, consider asking general open-ended questions that will allow you to understand the stubborn person's point of view and why they feel the way that they do. If they're hesitant to open up, don't try to pry them open. They will only lead to frustration and distrust. If they're not ready to talk, give it a little bit of time and try approaching them at another time and in a different way. As you seek to understand versus to being understood, you may learn a great deal about what drives the stubborn person to be so resistive to new ideas. If they open up, you may find that at some time in their past they suffered some consequence, meaning a bad outcome or an embarrassing outcome, from being open-minded and open to change. If that were revealed, you would begin to understand that the core issue is they are wounded and hurting. That hurt can last for years, maybe even decades. It can be from something that happened on the job or something that happened in their childhood. You never know what you'll find out when you seek first to understand. If you've experienced or witnessed a near miss and would like to have a platform to share your lessons learned with others, contact me by visiting the SAMatters.com website and clicking on the Contact Us link on the top of the homepage. Think about it for a moment. The lessons learned from your near-miss event could save the life of another first responder. That's powerful. If you want to share your experience, contact me. Okay, as I always do, I want to take a moment to thank the departments and organizations that have hosted some great situational awareness training. I do this to show my appreciations to those organizations who put forth the effort to organize, advertise, and fund these training programs. Your efforts to bring this valuable and powerful training on situational awareness and high-risk decision-making to your members and others in your region are greatly appreciated. Maryland Fire Rescue Institute, National Fire Service Staff and Command Program, the Beaver County Public Safety Commission in Pennsylvania, the Cranberry Fire Department in Pennsylvania, and where I am now, a program for the International Association of Fire Chiefs in Blue Springs, Missouri. And by the time this episode airs, I will have completed programs in Lancaster, Texas, and in Richland, Washington for the Washington Hazmat Conference. And if you want to join me at an upcoming event on April 7th, I'll be in Medford, Oregon. April 20th, Penticton, British Columbia. April 22nd, Creston, British Columbia. April 24th, Michigan City, Indiana. April 25th, Indianapolis, Indiana. May 2nd, the Fire Department of the City of New York Incident Management Team meeting. May 3rd, Orangeburg, New York. May 4th, Mamaroneck, New York. May 6th and 7th, Toronto, Canada. May 16th through the 24th, the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in Kittery, Maine. May 31, Colorado Springs Fire Department, Colorado Springs, Colorado. While delivering some situational awareness programs in southwest Minnesota earlier this year, I had the opportunity to stop and visit my awesome, amazing, totally rad sponsor, Midwest Fire. They make those all-poly fire apparatus bodies that are changing the industry. And no, I'm serious. You got to check them out, MidwestFire.com. While I was there visiting, I had a chance to sit down and talk to some of their employees about what separates Midwest Fire from their competitors. Here I got a chance to talk to account executive Dalton Lingbeck about their Create a Spec feature on their website. Let's listen in. All right, Dalton. So A lot of the people who attend my programs are volunteer firefighters who have full-time jobs and full-time lives and raising their kids and working second jobs and doing the fire department, and clearly their time is stretched. So how, if they had an interest in a Midwest fire apparatus, how do they reach you, and what's the process? I mean, how difficult is this? How much time is this going to take if they want to learn more about how to build a Midwest fire truck?
Well, that's a good question. We try and make it as easy as possible because a lot of our customers, if not the majority of our customers, are volunteer firefighters, and they do have a hard time of finding time in a day to reach out to us. So if you ever go to our website and you're searching around and you really want to talk to us but you just can't get on the phone, we have a couple ways of doing this. The first part is we actually have a call request button where you can go on there, you can click on it, you can tell us when and what number to call you on at the best time. That's really easy for us to reach out at the moment you want us to, when you're best available. The second thing is we do a create a spec. So on our website, you can actually click a button that's called create a spec, and you can build the truck that you are trying to spec out. And what that does, it doesn't give you the full truck, it doesn't give you a price, but it sends us a specification in-house. So what we can do with that is we can have your information to call you with, but before that, we have the spec in hand. We can make notes. We can start developing some ideas. So when we call you, it's an efficient call. It doesn't take up a lot of your time, and it's at the right moment.
And this creative spec, is there like drop-down options? Like, you know, I'm guessing like when I purchased fire trucks, sometimes I didn't even know what I wanted, and sometimes I didn't even know the options of what were available. So is this kind of talk me through, you know, the different decisions that need to be made in developing a spec? Because I would guess that there are people out there that would be scratching their head saying, I'm not really sure that I know what I need or want. So how interactive is this in walking you through this?
Well, it's a page-by-page process. So we kind of start out with the size of your truck, and we go on to different options. We try to make it as simple as possible for you to get the point across. Basically, what it does is, like I said, it's a page-by-page process. You choose your options. We lead you in a direction that you need to go. So it's not one big page of just a bunch of stuff that you need to choose.
Okay. But there are options listed there to be able to choose from.
Yeah, if you're not writing anything out, there are comment boxes where you can write little comments if you need to, but we give you the options, little drop-down, little check boxes.
Are you, on this creative spec, are you getting as specific as to say, I want this first compartment to be so many inches wide by so many inches tall by so many inches deep? Are they getting that in depth in the creative spec, or is it something that's just a little simpler that allows them to do kind of like a high level description of what they want in a truck?
It's a little simpler. It's more of a high level idea. When it comes to compartment sizes, that's more for engineering to figure out. But you can, like I said, in the comment boxes, there are sections where you can say, you know, I want high side compartments, I want full height compartments on this side. There's a lot of options for you to choose that. Okay,
so to go to MidwestFire.com, and then on there is a create a spec tab or link.
Yep, you'll see one on the top right corner, and if you scroll down the main page, you'll see one underneath our video. There's plenty of options for you to find it. It's just here to catch your eye, and when you see some trucks on our website that you like, feel free to fill one out.
Yep, there you go. Go to MidwestFire.com, check out Create a Spec, and see how easy it is to build a truck and then have a follow-up consultation about your needs. Thank you, Midwest Fire President Sarah Atchison and all your staff for your awesome commitment to improving first responder safety. I really appreciate your support of my mission. If you're not a member of the SA Matters community of learners yet, consider joining. There are over 5,000 members connected here on SA Matters, sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness and how to make better decisions under stress, how to train members to be critical thinkers and resilient problem solvers. The membership is free, Free, free. And when you sign up, I'll send you a special report I've created for the new members called 25 Best Practices for Improving First Responder Safety. Joining also gets you my monthly email newsletter that contains features from the blogs and the podcasts and other stuff as well. It's really the best way for us to stay in touch with each other. If you're not a member yet, head over to the SA Matters website, click on the red box on the right side of the homepage that says Free Membership. If you want to get connected with me on Twitter, you can follow at Rich Gasaway on Twitter. On LinkedIn, you can search for Rich Gasaway on LinkedIn. On YouTube, you can watch my videos on the SA Matters TV, all together, SA Matters TV, all one word, YouTube channel. And on Facebook, you can like the SA Matters page on Facebook. Well, that's it. Episode 154 is complete. Thank you to our awesome podcast sponsor, Midwest Fire. Thank you to all of our live event hosts. Thank you to the more than 700 online Academy students. And thank you, our listeners, for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of my mission. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit samatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.